Hello and welcome to Pop Culture Shark, a live stream about all things pop culture. I'm Final Monkey,
And I'm Caleb.
and today we thought it would be fun to discuss some of our favorite internet web series. Some of these will be funny, some will be video game related, and some will be spooky. It is that time of year. But before we do that, let's do our weekend checkup. Caleb, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. This week, as far as work and health and all that, I've been pretty not down, but it's just life has been a lot lately, and so Friday I took the time to just chill out, and then yesterday, Cameron and I we went to another tournament down in Lexington, and I just was not in the proper mindset to compete. So what I did was essentially I dropped off Cameron at the venue. I got the schedule because of course I want to go whenever like everyone's games are going on, because we got friends who also compete and I want to support the boys. Um, but I just drove around Lexington because I realized that I've lived in Kentucky for the majority of my life, and I've never been to Lexington for like leisure, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been like, okay, so we're going down to the campgrounds for like a church meeting, or we're going to a tournament, and so we're gonna go here. And so like I just kind of like went to downtown Lexington. I just went to a bunch of cool places, and I'm like, oh man, this is kind of chill. So yesterday was actually really nice and really refreshing for me. So yeah, other than that, just kind of been playing a lot of Mario Kart, a lot of Mario Kart, and a lot of Smash Brothers Melee for some reason.
Nice.
Um, yeah, but yeah. Anyway, what about yourself?
So I'm doing all right. It was a busy week. I am still trying out some different anime. I've been watching people react to different stuff. Well,
JoJo's.
no, I've been watching a lot of Attack on Titan reactions. I can't seem to shake Attack on Titan. I really enjoy that series. Um,
I've had a lot
uh,
of people tell me about Chainsaw Man now. Now it's like everyone telling me about Chainsaw Man.
yeah, the second episode took kind of a turn, a little bit more lighthearted comedy. Um, the character got very pervy this episode, which is common for Japanese cartoons. Um, yeah, so I'm curious to see if it goes back to being dark and crazy this week. This is kind of a catch your breath episode, meet the characters type thing.
Hmm.
Um,
The first like 13 episodes of an anime usually are kind of just like not exactly slice of life, but like it's probably the most slice of life that the show will get before like it picks up,
yeah,
typically.
yeah,
And then there's like a filler episode where they all go swimming.
right. Um, let's see. I don't know if I told you I started watching Spy Family. I really enjoy that. I've still only seen the first episode because I was kind of waiting for my family to watch it with me. Found something. Oh, this is something everybody would enjoy. So
Mhm.
we've only been through the first episode, but it's really good. Other than that, One Piece is getting close to the ending.
I
you
don't
could
believe you.
you
It's been
could
getting.
tell when reading the manga. It's getting wild. People are
It's
like all the characters that have big mysteries and stuff are all showing up and fighting each other, and it's all we're getting there.
so
I'm,
for those of you who don't know about One Piece, it's been getting close to the end for probably about 10 years.
I think it started in late '90s. I want to say. And they're like in the thousands, the chapters. That I think 1064 was today. Um, yeah, so it's a daunting task to read. It is well worth it though. It is an amazing manga. Um, I do not know how he does it. Um,
I mean, this is something that he's been like imagining since he was like a child, right?
uh, I'm not. I don't know about that, but just for a writer to keep that level of quality up for that many years, it's unheard of. It really, it really is, because the new chapters are just as exciting as they were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and sometimes even better. you know, and his art keeps improving, and it's wild. So there's my recommendation for the week. Check out One Piece. I know 1,000 chapters seems crazy, and when you're going to start reading it, you're going to be like, "What the heck?" It takes a few chapters for it to hook you in. I always tell people to read through Arlong Park or watch through Arlong Park, and then if you're not hooked after Arlong Park, that's fine. But Arlong Park is where everybody says it gets good. So that's it for that. And we don't really have news this week. There's just, I mean, it seemed like there was a lot going on, but nothing going on at the same time. A lot of
I
the
can
same old,
I can rant about Feige again, I guess.
Well, I know that I know Black Adam came out, and I know the critics hated it, but it seems like audiences are liking it. Um,
Yeah, wait, honestly, that's kind of, from what I can tell, that's like par for the course with
yeah,
DC at this point. Like, I got some friends who said that they really enjoyed it.
yeah, and it seems like there is a section of the media or the internet or whatever that wants Warner Brothers to fail at the moment after they canceled Batgirl. They have like this they just have a grudge against them right now for whatever reason.
Hmm. Oh, that, you know what, that is a piece of news. Because I know I've already been spoiled, and I know you don't care about DC spoilers because you're not going to see them anyway.
Hmm.
Henry Cavill is back as Superman.
Yeah, so I think what they're kind of, I think Warner Brothers, they have a plan, but if Black Adam bombs at the box office, they could change that plan pretty easily. But yeah, it does seem like we are getting more Henry Cavill. Um, to be honest, a Superman versus Black Adam movie, it sounds okay. I'd rather
Yeah.
have a Superman and Shazam versus Black Adam movie.
Did you
But
ever see that one?
uh, was there you talk about, is there a cartoon or something?
Yeah, yeah.
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, gotcha. So it was actually like one of those collections of animated shorts where, like, they collect everything and put it on one disc. So like that's where the Jonah Hex one went, the Green Arrow one, the Spectre, and then the Superman, Shazam. I think it was like Rise of the Black Adam, or no, Return of the Black Adam. Superman. It's called Superman Shazam: Return of the Black Adam. Um, that one was about 40 minutes long, so it was like an extended short, and then it had all the other shorts on it too. Um, but yeah, no, I remember watching that whenever I was maybe like 14 or something. It came out around the same time as like the Justice League Doom or Under the Red Hood, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
so everybody's like excited, like, "Oh, Man of Steel sequel," and I'm like, "Yeah, but I didn't like Man of Steel." you
yeah,
know,
but
so that's
I doubt Zack Snyder's involved though.
right. So I'm hoping that they get Superman right. If they get Superman right, fix his costume, I you might be able to drag me back in.
I can tell you that Henry Cavill is the right person for it.
Oh, I don't. Henry Cavill was not my problem with that movie.
Oh
It was
yeah,
the way
yeah,
Superman
I
was
got you.
written. It was Paul Kent. It was, and this. I feel like we just need to do an episode about movies we hate, and we could really get into it.
I still think that the way you should have done Man of Steel is if you insist on having Pa Kent being like, no, you need to hide and not save people and everything. Um, well, here's what I would do at the tornado scene. You have him disobey his father, and he saves Pa Kent, and then Pa Kent is like even though his son saved him, he is kind of like he is like, oh, what's the word? Whenever like he's like, I'm mad at you for doing that. I can't think of the word, but he shuns his son at that point.
Right.
And then at the end, whenever instead of going to the preacher, like the random preacher, to say what should I do, he would go to Pa Kent to say what should I do, and Pa Kent finally says, "I was wrong. You need to save us." And
Yeah.
that's how I would do it. But no, if anyone wants to see Henry Cavill be the perfect Superman, Guy Ritchie's The Man from Uncle. Great movie. Uh, he plays the American, and Army Hammer is the Russian. Really fun movie. But yeah, one of my favorite Henry Cavill performances.
Nice. Um, so I said we had no news, and as I'm sitting here talking, I'm thinking of news items to talk about. uh, so we won't be here for the next 2 weeks due to Halloween and some other issues. So there's stuff happening the next 2 weeks that we should probably mention. Uh, there is a Weird Al movie coming out November 4th, I believe. Um,
Something like that, yeah.
it's coming to the Roku channel, so you have a Roku to watch it. But I'm hearing a lot of buzz that this movie is amazing.
I'm
Um,
sure it is.
and at first, I didn't quite get it. I was just kind of like, okay, is this just the story of his life? But it's more making fun of your
Hmm.
music biopic type film.
Yeah, especially because music biopics are like super big right now with Bohemian Rhapsody, Rocket Man, and Elvis.
Right. So leave it to Weird Al to make a parody of that with
Right,
just a
right.
grain of truth here or there, but for the most part, a parody. I think it's going to be incredible. Um, you got Daniel Radcliffe playing Weird Al. You have, and I'm not a big Office guy, but Dwight is playing Dr. Demento.
Oh, that's
Uh,
great.
yeah, so I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun. Um, so that is coming out very very soon.
Um,
Um,
we got Tales of the Jedi coming out. Super excited for that.
yeah, and also coming to theaters next week for a limited release. Um, let me find a decent poster of it. Give me 1 second here. But yeah, that Weird Al movie could be a lot of fun. Uh, so I don't know if this is through Fathom Events, but One Piece Red will be in theaters. It's the same weekend as my camping trip coming up, so we're gonna try to see it before we go camping. Um, but yeah, this is the next One Piece movie. I haven't heard much about it, um, so I know that it involves a singer. So this could be good or bad. I don't know.
I
So
mean, the only One Piece movie that I ever heard anything about was Z. That's the only one that I ever heard about.
well, the original One Piece movies, the creator Oda was not involved with heavily until Strong World. So from Strong World on, they've all been pretty good. Um,
Are they canon?
Sorta. He'll kind of mention characters that are in it, but he is kind of yes and no. Um, and I think all of them are pretty easy, accessible for someone who's never seen One Piece, um, except for Stampede. So Strong World, pretty viewer friendly, new viewer friendly. Z Gold, and then Stampede, which is kind of like a celebration of. It was like the anniversary movie, so they threw like every character in there. So if you didn't know these characters, you would have been a little lost. I mean, it's still a blast to watch. That one's crazy.
I mean, like as a fan, like oh, that would be such a good show. Just like anniversary things. Like I'm thinking Turtles Forever and
Oh yeah,
Forever Red. Um, I mean, if you think about it, the new Fire Emblem game.
yeah,
I don't know what like anniversary they're celebrating, but I'm like bringing back Ike, Marth, Seliph, just bring back everybody in the form of like these transformation rings. Like
Yeah.
that is so. I always call it really Common Rider like or Super Sentai like because whenever it comes to these anniversary things, I always think of like Power Rangers because that's where they do like the big team ups. Um, but yes, it seems very much like that. So yeah,
Yeah,
we'll write that down. I want to talk about anniversaries.
yeah, I know that Doctor Who does that a lot. Well, they'll do their special events where he meets past doctors and all that. So,
hmm
um, yeah, that'd be cool. All right, so that's some upcoming events that I thought we could talk about. So let's move on to our main topic. Um, so every once in a while, especially on YouTube nowadays, but even before we had YouTube, you'll stumble across something that's not just a one-off video, but a series of videos. Um, and they developed quite a following. So I thought we could talk about some of those today, some of our favorites. Um, so I think we got to start with the OG Daddy, the kind of the original that kicked all this off,
Oh
Homestar
yeah,
Runner. Uh, and the thing about Homestar Runner is I feel like the current generation has kind of forgotten about it. You know,
absolutely.
they kind of stopped updating regularly a few years back, and you'll still get a new one here or there, but
Yeah, I think they still do Halloween ones, so we might get one this month.
yeah. So, but Homestar Runner it's incredible. It's hilarious. It's the animation is beautiful. Um,
I think the
it
coolest thing about it, because Cameron and I watched these whenever we were like in first, second grade. It's pretty decently like family friendly too.
absolutely. I mean, they will allude to drinking alcohol, but they won't really say it. They'll say the ones are cold or the cold ones. Uh,
A cold one drinking a cold one? That's
yeah,
like cannibalism, or at
right.
least cold oneabalism.
The funny thing about Homestar Runner is Homestar's the main character, but he's not the one everybody's there to see. It is Strong Bad.
Absolutely.
If you're not familiar, it's the guy in red that looks like a Mexican wrestler. He used to read emails from viewers, and then it would turn into a short cartoon every week, and they were very popular. Um, and that's
What
where
what? Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was going to
Trogdor.
say that's where Trogdor came from. That
Yeah,
gets
I
mentioned here or there in pop culture. So
yeah, I was gonna say I think at least Trogdor is still pretty decently mentioned.
yeah, that was the first Homestar thing I ever saw. Was a friend of mine was just cracking up saying, "You gotta watch this thing about this dragon," and he sent it to me,
Yeah.
and I was hooked after that.
You know what? Every time I hear someone tell their story, it's always Trogdor. Like even me, my first one was Trogdor too. So like that was definitely it. I don't know what do you think are because I mean like we can do like a whole episode on the whole website, because you've got like your puppet stuff, your different shows and whatnot. Every time they do a Halloween or Decemberween special, but sticking to like Speemails, what do you think are some of like the what are your greatest hits? Not like the greatest hits, but like some of your personal favorites.
Um, so I was gonna mention this. I'm 99% sure this started out as an email. The Teen Girl Squad is I
Yes.
think one of the funniest. I think the cartoon is called Comic Strip.
Yep.
It's very funny. The one about what's his name, Sibby, where he's not gonna write a song about
Oh,
Sibby.
I'm not gonna write a song, but because he writes the Fahohu gods.
It,
But now
yeah,
he's not gonna write a song about the Sibi, but then he writes a song about the Sibi.
yeah. There's one about I think the name was Trevor the Vampire. It's been a while since I've watched these, but Trevor the
Yeah.
Vampire, and also the email just stops halfway, and he's all crying because they killed him. Uh,
I love how it's like, hey, Strong Bad, wouldn't it be great if you answered 2 emails this week? That's such a great idea. Number 2. And so he goes on next. Uh,
the Cheat is Not Dead is a
oh yes.
classic. Um, and we failed to mention they made a whole album of songs. That
Oh
is
yeah.
a great album.
Limousine,
Yeah.
Sloshy.
Yeah, they made up fake bands that they play on there, fake
Big
heavy metal
knifed
bands.
tarantula. I
Yeah.
think my personal favorite, and Cameron knows this because if I'm ever in a bad mood, all he does is quote one specific line from my favorite mail, and if I laugh, then he knows I'm fine. But if I don't laugh, then that's how he knows that like I'm in a legit bad mood. It's it's the mail called Four Branches, which is the four branches of Homestar stupidity.
Okay.
And so
I don't know if I remember this one, but okay.
it was a later one.
Yeah, I
Um,
haven't seen some of the later ones, so that may
okay.
be why.
No, there was this time because Cameron and I were homeschooled. We had time. We went through and we watched everything in release order at one point. um, but one of the branches was stupid things that Homestar does while at work. And so they're at like a call center because they all work in a call center for some reason. Um, and like he's a strong bad is just on the computer and is like it could be your uh, it could be the first name of your dog or your mother's maiden credit card number. Just and so then Homestar says off screen, uh, hey Espo, can you come in and help me? And then he's like, shut up, Homestar. He's like, Espo, we got free bagels in here. He's like, I'm sorry, man. Free bagels just happened. And so then he leaves his desk.
Yeah.
And then Homestar is stuck in a water cooler. And he's like, what is this? There are no free bagels in here. No, but it is free Homestar from the water cooler. And so all Cameron has to say is no, but it is free Homestar, and that kills me. Four branches of Homestar stupidity is my favorite speed.
I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah,
So this was all done in Flash. Made Flash animation become very popular on the
rest in
internet.
peace.
Yeah, which we don't have anymore. Um, the site also had Easter eggs everywhere. There was hidden stuff all throughout the site, and that was part of the fun was trying
Yeah,
to figure out where the Easter eggs are.
it was
And
usually
they,
Homsar.
yeah, so Hamsar is and he's on the screen right now in the middle left of the picture. Uh, he was kind of someone misspelled Homestar in a what was it? Why don't you kill Homstar for
Once,
heavy lord
like
or something?
yeah, heavy the heavy lord. Yes.
Yeah. And so then he just became this goofy hitting character that just talked gibberish.
Yeah,
Um,
some of his favorite, some of my personal favorites are hey Wonder Mike, I'm Hopsar, the captain of the gravy train. All aboard!
I was raised
Raised
by
by a cup
cup of
of
coffee.
coffee.
Yeah, if you've never seen this, you probably think we've lost our minds,
Yeah.
but
Oh man,
uh,
it's great.
it is great. One of the I think one of the funniest non-strong bad emails is where they are trying to get Homestar to say homestarrunner.com. He keeps saying homestarrunner.net. It's
No,
hilarious.
it is like, welcome aboard the USS HomestarWonder.com. I am your captain, Homestar Wonder. It's like, let's try it one more time. Oh, I'm Homestar, and this is a website.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it goes on
um,
and on and on.
it's great. No, I should have seen if I can grab pictures because the biggest Homestar Runner fan I have ever met is my brother. Um, he dressed up as Homsar one time. He had a great Homsar
I
costume.
remember that. Yeah.
Did you ever see his Homestarmy costume?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, so you know what? Let me see if I can find the Homestarmy picture, just to give you some perspective.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
but
So
in
yeah,
oh, go
while
ahead.
you're looking for that, this was a website. They are slowly moving everything over to YouTube, and that's where you can find new content. They're trying to put Easter eggs in the YouTube videos. It doesn't quite work, but it's like they'll do fake ending screens and stuff, and then the video keeps playing if you sit there long enough. Um, But yeah, pretty funny. So as Caleb was saying, we should be getting a Halloween special, and that's what's on the screen. Is one of their Halloween specials. They always dress up as different costumes, and then some of the references are pretty obscure, but they're always pretty funny. Uh, One of my favorite Halloween ones was Mr. Poofer Must Die, where they're telling a scary story and they're trying to. I think it was a dog. They were trying to kill Mr. Poofers, and none of them could say. No one of them could kill Mr. Poofer in the story, no matter how hard they tried. Uh, Very funny. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's amazing.
Oh, and then there's also like the there is a strong bad like universe where like there's like a multiverse of strong bads.
Hmm.
Um,
Long before Spider Verse, there
yeah.
was.
Oh, I remember. Oh, so that's your plan to waste water and not pay for it.
Yeah.
Steiny, Steiny, keep flushing those toilets. All right.
uh,
So, do you have it up on the screen?
yeah, I have a picture of the DU has. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, the Homestar Me was Homestar was a Homestar's army to combat Strong Badia. And I'm not going to explain any of this. It's just easier if I don't. But yeah, so this is Homestar, the Colonel Homestar Runner. And so Cameron, for Halloween one year, he just puts on an orange bowl on his head and carries a wooden spoon, and like he's just asking everybody for $5 because he's like, because to join the Homestar Army, you got to give him $5.
Right.
Oh, and then there was Benedetto, that was just a popcorn machine.
Yeah, which I had when I was a kid. We had one of those. They reference a lot of stuff that I had as a kid, the Casio uh, piano and
Hmm.
all that stuff, and they'll spoof stuff like they spoof GI Joe and stuff with the Cheat Commandos.
Oh, I love
Uh,
Cheat Commandos.
yeah, so it's funny. There,
Firebird. We need to find out what Homestar's up to.
yeah. So there's hours and hours of animation you can check out. Um, the creators went on. One of them worked on Two More Eggs on the Disney Channel, and
Oh, I can tell you what their biggest thing was.
well, they helped with some with what's that, Aquabats?
Yo Gabba Gabba.
Okay, so
They
were they like heavily involved with Yo Gabba Gabba, or they?
oh yeah, definitely.
See, I didn't know that. I knew
Hmm.
there's an episode of Aquabats where Strong Bad sort of shows up.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I
Um,
do remember that. But that's why, because so Yo Gabba Gabba and Aquabats show like we're like always like kind of like crossing over. Excuse me.
mhm.
So like on Yo Gabba Gabba, and the reason I know a lot about this is because my mom used to babysit, so I used to watch these shows as a 15, 16 year old. um, so I got you for the Yo Gabba Gabba lore, with Wow Wow Wubsy and all that.
Mhm.
But so on Yo Gabba Gabba, they'd always have like a musical guest, like Biz, or
Yeah.
or so they had Aquabats on them one time, and so yeah, the brothers Chaps, who are the creators, um, they are uh, they were heavily involved in that. One thing that, and I don't know if I'm supposed to divulge this, but my other uncle actually reached out to the brothers Chaps about, because my other uncle makes pinball machines.
Mhm.
If you're in the pinball world, you may be familiar with the Steamboat Willie machine. My uncle made that.
Oh, really?
Um, oh yeah, yeah, that was Craig, um, and so he reached out because he wanted to make a Homestar Runner pinball machine, and they might still be working on it. I know that if he gets it sanctioned, because they've been talking about this, they would make one more strong bad email that would say dear,
Okay, yeah. I
dear.
think we probably
Yeah,
shouldn't reveal whatever you're
yeah,
about to say.
yeah,
So, that's interesting, though. Yeah, I don't think we should go any
yeah,
surprises there. But one
yeah.
other thing I want to mention, the creators of the site also, they became very good friends with They Might Be Giants. And if you're in
Oh
Atlanta
yes.
when They Might Be Giants are performing, Strong Bad might come out on stage and sing with them. So, uh, yeah, and they've done music videos with They Might Be Giants and stuff. So, yeah, Homestar Runner, very cool. We got a lot of other shows to talk about. We could talk about Homestar all
Yeah.
night.
Well, yeah. I knew this would be the longest one.
Yeah. So
This is the one that we both know about. You've got some that I'm not familiar with, and then the ones that I have you're probably not familiar with. So this is the one where there's a lot of conversation.
yeah, I think I've heard of most of your list. There's probably some on my list. You're probably like, what are you talking about? All right. So let's move on to the next one. One of yours,
Yes.
the Potter Puppet Pals, which is something I did not discover till like last year, the year before. And
Really?
I know it's one of those things that's been around forever.
Yes, yes. So Potter Puppet Pals is something that was shown to me. I want to say it was around the time of Goblet of Fire or Order of the Phoenix. I might be way off on that. I just remember that like we were already living in New Jersey at this point. Um, but um and really there's only one that I remember because I haven't watched these in years. The only one I remember is the mysterious ticking noise.
Which I think is the one everybody knows.
Yo, yes, yes, of course, with the Snape, Severus Snape, Dumbledore.
Right.
um, no, but it's really cool whenever you're sitting um, in a movie theater at the premiere of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part Two, and then someone starts it and then the entire movie theater starts singing along. Everyone's taking like they're taking the Ron Weasleys and the Harry Potters,
Oh,
Hermione's.
that's
It
fun.
that was such an experience, and honestly, that's the reason I wanted to talk about Potter Puppet Pals is just because I wanted to talk about that experience.
Yeah.
Um, but honestly, honestly, the puppets are so they're pretty good puppets. Like you can tell who's who.
Yeah.
Um,
I think the first episode is pretty family friendly. Then after that, they're not too family friendly.
yeah.
Uh, my favorite joke on there is Neville being a potato. It's so dumb, but it's
Yeah.
so funny. Uh,
I'm surprised that is Andrea like super into Harry Potter. I know she's into a lot of the Timon
yeah,
Bopper stuff. Okay.
yeah. I don't think she's ever read the books, but she's definitely into the
Okay.
movies.
I remember you guys took me to see Chamber of Secrets as a kid.
Yeah, it was a very traumatic experience for you, if I recall. You
You
were,
know what? You know what? No, it was the first one. It was Sorcerer's Stone. I
yeah, yeah. It
remember
was the first one. Yes, yes.
because his parents are dead. What?
Yeah, you were very little. You were freaking
Yeah.
out. I remember that.
Which is funny because Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru being disintegrated. That's nothing. I mean, he wouldn't even let him go to the academy.
I saw
uh,
someone on Reddit that they have like a 3-year old, and every year they've been posting pictures with this poor child. And like, so the first picture is them as the Waynes dead in the street and baby Batman sitting by them.
that's
And,
great.
and then the next one is him as baby Luke and them as skeletons laying in the front yard.
That's great.
And now this one is him as Harry Potter, as them both as ghosts standing next to him.
I love it. That's great. But no, I'm surprised you didn't catch wind of these early because we're gonna leak some final monkey lore. You used to put on a lot of puppet shows.
I
Uh,
did.
the
I did.
sharks.
Um, yeah. So the shark that you see in the pictures is my shark puppet. He will probably be appearing on this channel sometime in the future. Probably first of the year, we'll start adding some more videos, and you'll probably start seeing him in some actual videos.
Was his name Lenny?
Yeah, and I had named him that in like 2000, and then like I don't know when Shark Tale came out, like 5 years later, and so their shark is named Lenny also. So I've always been kind of like, can we call him Lenny? Can we not call him Lenny? I think it'd be okay.
His name's Lenny. Like we can't.
Yeah, so
That's what I mean.
I don't know if it's like trademarked Lenny the Shark, so I have alternatives. I call him Seasick Leonard just officially, and then it's just whenever we talk about it, it's just Lenny.
Yeah.
Um, we'll see.
Whenever I'm thinking of Leonard, though, I'm thinking community. Shut up, Leonard. No one knows what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
right.
Um, but yeah, yeah, Potter Puppet Pals, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Which is weird because like I'm not like the biggest Harry Potter fan. Like I watched them growing up, and then like I watched through them, like whenever we had HBO Max. But like I've never seen Fantastic Beasts. I've never
Oh,
experienced Harry
so
Potter.
boring. I was big in the books, and then I kind of dropped off.
I stand by that. Of these Twilight, Hunger Games, teeny bopper movies, that Prisoner of Azkaban is the best one, like of all of them.
Prisoner of Azkaban is so good.
Yeah.
Um,
Actually,
yeah.
more lore. Your wife got me to read Hunger Games, and her pitch was, "It's like Mortal Kombat."
Okay.
That was her pitch.
I don't know if it's like Mortal Kombat. It's definitely like
No.
Battle Royale, but
Yeah.
um,
She's like, "You'll love it. It's like Mortal Kombat, and then we can go see the movie together." And I'm like, "Oh, it's like Mortal Kombat, sure." And I read it, and I'm like, "It's good. It's not Mortal Kombat, but it's good."
yeah. Uh, Battle Royale, by the way, still a good movie. I was watching someone react to that the other night. I was like, yeah, this movie's still great.
I've never seen it actually.
It's usually free on like Tubi
Yeah.
or Netflix. You should definitely check out the first one. I hear the second one's terrible, but
I have watched more of Squid Game than I have of Battle
Squid
Royale.
Game's great too. Okay, let's move on.
All right, yeah. There we go.
Um, all right. So this is one of mine. I'm trying to remember if I was introduced to this through game theory or if I had found it myself. I feel like I found it before game theory. Local 58. Local 58 is a YouTube series that it looks like someone recorded it off their VCR in like early 90s, late 80s, all those UHF like local channels.
Mhm.
And it'll be like, coming up, news at 10 and blah blah blah, and all of a sudden it'll start getting hijacked, and it'll be like all blurred and stuff, and then like disturbing videos will air. And let me see, I pulled up a thing. Uh yeah, so it and there's like different decades the videos will pop up in, and like so there's clues. It seems to be that there's the plot, and this is spoilers for this plot
How long?
is
When did this come out? You know what? We probably should like annotate these with like Homestar Runner was like early 2000s. Potter Puppet Palace was mid 2000s.
this was 2015.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, is when it started. There's not several of them. There's they'll just do one every once in a while. Um,
Is it still going on?
yeah, you'll get one like every 6 months or so. Like just sparingly, one will pop up.
Okay.
Uh, but the first one, it's like a what do you call it? Like a national emergency, like beep beep. There's beeping and all that. It looks like an actual screen popping up, and it's telling you stay inside, don't go outside, and then the message starts changing. It's like do go outside, and like this message for the president, like the end of the world, starts playing like one of those old, kind of like a Gremlins 2 where they start playing that message about the world ending. uh, that starts playing, and they're like, what is it? It's like the three F's: front lawn, face up. I can't remember what the other one is, but it's talking about go out front and just wait for your death, go lay out in the front yard and all this. And it's if you watch it long enough, it's kind of hinting that the moon is actually kind of like a Cthulhu type entity that's living inside of it, and it's hijacking the signals and trying to uh, take over everybody's minds. And there's videos of people going outside and screaming and just losing their minds, looking at the moon and stuff, and it's pretty wild. Um, I know Matt Pat has done some theories on it, on game theory or film theory, I guess. Um, but yeah, if you want to watch something a little weird, a little spooky. Local 58 is pretty out there. There's some other ones I'm going to mention tonight that are also similar to this, but I think this is one of the first ones that did the analog horror thing. Where they're using old TV footage and making it into something scary. So
It kind of reminds me of War of the Worlds.
a little bit, yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, I think this one's a lot of fun. If you're looking for something creepy to watch, this is a good one. One that we'll talk about here in a minute, Gemini Home Entertainment, is also pretty out there. So that's it for Local 58. What's next on your list?
Next up, let's talk about Red versus Blue. So, for those of you who are not super familiar with the concept of machinimas, what machinimas are, um, and this was before machinima was a company. Machinima was just a concept, and the concept was they use in-game graphics and like an actual like theater mode um, to film things. And so with Red versus Blue, it started with Halo, where it was the red team versus the blue team on Blood Gulch was the name of the map. Blood Gulch, very famously, for all my Halo fans out there, best map in Halo 1, biggest map in Halo 1. Everyone loved it. Um, and it just a really really funny show um, that is I think it's still going on today. It's not as good because um, ironically because of Red versus Blue, theater modes in first person shooters have actually gotten better because they want people to make these things. But I think that part of the charm was like the theater modes weren't as good, and so it was a lot funnier. Um, but everyone knows Caboose. Caboose is hilarious. Sarge, um, and then there's the classic, and it's the very first scene of the very first episode, Red versus Blue, where he's like, "Hey, you ever wonder why we're here?" And then he guy starts going off on a tangent about like the meaning of life and whatnot, and the guy's no, I mean like why are we here, why are we fighting, like that's what I mean. And they're like, oh, I don't know, it's just what we do.
Yeah, this is one I've heard of. I'm not familiar with though, because I'm not into Halo at all.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I got into this one before I got into Halo actually. um but yeah, Red versus Blue is it's a lot of fun. It is. I just realized I'm talking about two Rooster Teeth things tonight. We do not condone uh, Rooster Teeth, just so everyone knows. We are just talking about some shows that they made. um, but yeah, Red versus Blue is a lot of fun. There was a storyline where Caboose got pregnant, and that was really funny. Just really really stupid. It was early 2000s humor, and that I love early 2000s humor. I think this started in 2003, still going on to this day. Um, but like I said, it's not as funny. It's lost the it's lost the early 2000s humor because it's not in the early 2000s anymore. But I would definitely encourage y'all to watch maybe like the first 5 seasons of its 20 some odd seasons. um, and funniest thing, they're on like this is an actual show. It's on like Amazon streaming now. It's really funny. Um,
is there any particular episodes we should check out that you would
uh,
recommend?
I think the first episode is a great place to start just because it's like really funny and really. I am a big fan of deadpan humor, and the first episode is some of the most deadpan I've ever seen.
Okay. For local
Um,
58, there's a video called Contingency that you should check. Is probably the one I would check out. So,
okay, gotcha.
yep.
Um, no, and honestly, so do you remember the episode of I Can't Stop, Mandalorian, that opens up with Jason Sudeikis as a scout trooper, and like
Yeah.
they're trying to. There is no doubt in my mind that that was a reference to Red versus Blue.
I think it was the season finale to the season one or somewhere around there.
Yeah. It was a season they had Grogu at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that that was a reference to Red versus Blue.
Yeah. You'll have to send me a link to one of the better ones and I'll check it out.
All right, cool.
Yeah. All right. Moving on from Red versus Blue. This is probably the most popular one on our list today. Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Are you familiar with that one?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
So I'm like you with Potter Puppet Pals, where like I didn't catch wind of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared until after it was over.
Uh huh.
What it was we my best friend was getting married, and so we went on a trip to a cabin for his bachelor party, and they kept saying this one phrase, and I was like, what are you guys talking about? What is that from? So they kept saying, "There's not enough time," and I'm like, "What are you guys talking about?" They're like, "Do you really not know?" And so we spent an entire night watching through "Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared," and they said, "Now be careful. Do not go too deep because you will never come out. Don't start looking at theories. Don't do any of that. You will never come out of it." I'm like, okay. um,
I
but
didn't know it
yeah.
was this old. 2011?
Oh yeah. They were telling me that because I had not heard of it until last year, but Ben and Will, they were just like,
Oh, okay. So they. Okay. No, I guess it is 2011. Okay. Yeah. 2011. Wow.
yeah, well, yeah, because they were telling me like how they watched this stuff in high school, and I'm like, high school? That was a long time ago.
It's kind of like almost like a preschool type show with your puppet
Yes.
characters here, and they'll sing a song about a lesson, but the song is it's wrong somehow, and the video will go off course as it gets more and more wrong. Something the song is trying to teach you, the lesson isn't quite right. I think it's the best way to describe it. And so each show has like a theme, like time or food or different things.
There's not enough time.
Yeah, I think
Um,
the one that Jackson quotes all the time is the computer one where he's like, "Don't touch me." So,
um, there's an episode that because when we were watching this, Ben had to walk out of the room because he says there's one episode that every time he watches it, he gets nightmares. It's whenever the one guy eats the other guy.
okay.
Do you remember that one?
I think so. It's been a little bit since I've watched
Oh,
these, but
okay,
yeah.
gotcha. I don't remember. I think it's the yellow guy starts eating the bird.
Yeah, I do
Um,
remember that now you're saying that.
yeah. As far as like which episodes to watch out for, I think it's short enough that like just watch the whole thing.
Yeah. I think I would agree with that. It is it does get pretty graphic at times, just gory wise.
Yeah, whenever the guy eats the other guy, like it's there's some stuff going on, and like then then they find out it's a show or something. I don't know. It like by the end, I was kind of lost, and I'm like, I'm not sure what's going on.
Well, I think if I recall, and this might be Matt Pat's theory, is that the red guy wanted to do a kid show, and it got corrupted by yellow guy's dad. And so, like, if you watch the final episode, they it's about the red guy's dream of doing a show, and then how it all gets corrupted and how they pull the plug and kind of go back to making it their own show at the end. Um, I think it's hard to say. There's a lot of hidden themes and all kinds of stuff. And apparently, there's new episodes, but I'm not sure where they're airing or how to watch it just yet. So, but I know like Conan O'Brien's production company is helping them make them. So,
That's amazing.
yeah. So, like on the Wikipedia page, it says there's new episodes starting September 30th, 2022, and but it doesn't say really where they're uploading them to. So, I have no idea where to find it. So,
I'll have to check HBO Max whenever we get off because I know Conan's got a show that's going to be on HBO Max coming
yeah, I
soon.
feel like it might be on something like that. Um, anyhow, don't hug me. I'm scared. It's pretty great. There's pretty high production value on these.
Yes, very
Uh,
high. It's very weird.
yeah.
Emphasis
Uh,
on the high.
yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's move on just because we have a long list here to
Yeah.
get through.
So this one, we're going to talk about next Rooster Teeth. We're going to talk about RWBY. Um, this one is interesting because there are 6 seasons so far, 6 or 7 seasons so far. I've actually only seen the first season. Um, the way I was actually introduced to RWBY is actually there was a fighting game that came out a couple years ago called Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. And I'm not a big Blaze Blue fan, but I do love Persona and I like Under Night in Birth. So that's what kind of got me, hooked into the game. And the fourth series that was in this crossover fighting game was RWBY. So you could play as all four of the main characters. And RWBY, RWBY ended up being RWBY and Yang actually ended up being two of the best characters in the game. In fact, um, it's kind of the nerdiest thing about not the nerdiest thing about me, but I customized my arcade stick in honor of Yang, who's the yellow one right here.
I don't think you're showing your screen, so I don't.
Am I not?
No.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So yellow one right here is Yang, and then we have RWBY, Weiss, Blake, and Yang. And their name spells out Ruby in a way.
Okay.
Um, and so their team RWBY. It is kind of like an academy of fighters, and everyone has like their own weapon. RWBY has a scythe. Weiss uses a rapier. Uh, Blake uses like one of those. I don't know what they're called, but it's like the ninja rope with I call it the ninja rope because that's what it's called in Worms, um, which is that's a game that people should still be playing. And then Yang has like these like weird fire fists, which are cool. Um, but like there's like this valuable thing called I think it was called dust that people are trying to steal, and so it's up to Team RWBY to stop them from stealing it. This was very early on, not very early on, but pretty early on. It was very much um, impressive that a YouTube channel could make something like this. And at this point, I've seen some of the animation. It's like it's its own show now. Um, instead of just being like an internet show. Um, but yeah, first season's really cool. I've heard that you can watch up to like season 3 or 4. Um, I just know that apparently there is a time skip, and then once there's a time skip, just stop watching it. But I've only ever seen the first season.
Okay. Is
But
it like
it's
funny or is it just action or?
yes and yes. So
Okay.
it's very anime inspired. So it's kind of got like that anime comedy. Um, RWBY herself is very childish. Um, and Ruby and Weiss are partners in because they're all on the same team, but Ruby and Weiss are partners, and Blake and Yang are partners, and so the whole dynamic is, um, whenever Ruby and Weiss go off on their missions, um, Ruby is very like, chipper, gung ho, and Weiss is just kind of like annoyed with her and doesn't like her at first. And then Blake is very much shy and kind of like emo, and Yang is just like a ball of fire, ready to just a real go getter. And so there's some fun dynamics there. But yeah, very, very much comedy and action. But it's not a comedy, you know.
Right. It just had, yeah, got it. Okay. Cool.
But yeah, not any specific episodes. Like I said, I've only seen the first season, so watch the first season. It's pretty good.
All right. So let's move on to another. This one's very similar to Local 58. This is Gemini Home Entertainment. This is another one that Matt has done videos on. Um, you can tell I watch a lot of film theory and game theory.
Which
Um,
honestly, in and of itself, that's a good internet show.
yeah, yeah. Uh, and if you like this type of weird stuff, it's not really a web series, but they are uploaded to YouTube. Adult Swim infomercials are very bizarre. Um, Too Many Cooks and what's it called? Feeding the Bear or something about a bear. I can't remember what it's called. I'm going to look that up. Those are like two of my favorites. Um,
This isn't like a show, and I don't think it's affiliated with the Adult Swim ones. But Jones Barbecue and Foot Massage is
oh,
one of
well,
my
that
favorite.
okay. So, unedited footage of a bear is, if you like bizarre stuff, that one is pretty incredible. Uh, and I just hit play on it, so you may actually hear it. Okay, there we go. um, the one you're talking about, that is Rhett and Link, who do Good Mythical Morning now. They used to have a show called Commercial Kings where they would make those types of commercials, and that
So
was,
so Rhett and Link made in Jones Barbecue and Foot Massage.
yeah, they're probably in the commercial somewhere. They're always in those commercials somewhere. There's a whole bunch of those types of commercials.
Really, like I never knew that. Like I just thought it was just some guy who made it because it's funny.
Uh, Let me make sure before I say that. What's it called? What's the
Jones
footness?
Barbecue and Foot Massage. Jones
Uh,
Barbecue and Foot
yeah, I've
Massage.
I've definitely seen that. I want to say it's part of.
I don't
Maybe it's not.
I don't think it is. I think it's just something that a guy made because I know if you Google Jones Barbecue and Foot Massage on Google, it's like an actual place and it says still
No.
open.
So, Commercial Kings, those were all actual businesses that would hire Rhett and Link to um, to do commercials for them, and they would do stuff like that. So I don't know. Now I'm questioning if that is one of them. Uh,
I just think it's like where you could sit down, have some nice barbecue, and get the feet rubbed. Like you pay me enough, I'll rub your feet in the barbecue sauce.
right.
um, but
Maybe it's
Gemini, I'll
maybe
go.
it's not. Yeah, we are way off. Yeah, if you've never seen Commercial Kings, they have some of the funniest commercials, um, and a lot of those weird commercials you'll see on the internet were Rhett and Link. They'll usually cameo in it somewhere. So I was just thinking maybe those two dancing mascots are Rhett and Link in
Yeah,
the.
this is a dinosaur.
That could be them. I don't know for sure though. So I don't want to say for sure now. But
Yeah,
anyhow, Gemini Home Entertainment. These look like old VHS tapes when you put them in, or when you start playing them. The tracking will be messed up, and these are all like creepy videos. Like the first one's called was it World's Weirdest Animals, and so it looks like like an old PBS type nature documentary, but then it gets more and more disturbing as it's describing the animals. So like there's the wood crawlers who will pose as a human; they can shapeshift. There's a lot of videos about the deep root disease. There's a fungus called Nature's Mockery, which is so cool. That's a cool name. Um, Let's see, what was the other one? There's like a welcome to summer camp video, and it's like showing all the counselors, and then it's like giving the rules, and it's like, yeah, don't open the door. If they knock, do whatever you do, don't open the door. And they start showing all these videos of people with their faces crossed out where they open the door. All these former camp counselors and stuff, where the skinwalkers have gotten them and stuff. Uh, it gets really creepy. Um, and I believe they're still making new episodes every now and then. It's been going on for like the last 2 years. Um, I would check out the first episode, World's Weirdest Animals, and you'll know right away if it's for you or not. uh, there's some videos where they're like sneaking up on a house, and it's almost like a stalker type vision, like voyeurs, where they're like filming inside the house, and you see the people inside, and the people they're trying to act normal, but it's like they don't know how to act. Like their teeth are chattering, and their movements are really weird. And so it's like people that have been replaced, and then all of a sudden they notice the camera start chasing you, but it's wild. um, yeah, so I blame Local 58. They got me on this kick of watching these types of videos, and I'm up to the point where I'd much rather watch this type of entertainment than huge blockbuster movies. Um, and I think that's happening to a lot of this upcoming generation. They'd rather watch stuff on YouTube. So
Yeah.
um,
And even some of the more popular shows, like I Cobra Kai started out on YouTube, and that's probably one of the most popular shows right now anyway.
yeah, I totally agree with that. In fact, on my other podcast, we were talking about Halloween costumes. And I said Cobra Kai is probably gonna be pretty big, and they're like, Cobra Kai, that's not popular. And I'm sitting there thinking, no, it's like the second most popular show on Netflix.
Oh
It's
yeah.
hugely popular. Um, anyhow, they were claiming that She Hulk was going to be the popular costume, and
No.
no, I don't think so. This was like before She Hulk came out. We were probably about a month ago. We were discussing this. So
You doing Luigi again?
I have I bought a Shredder action figure a couple months ago, and it came with a Krang toboggan. So I'll probably just wear that. It's like Krang's taking over my head. So that'll be fun. I saw some really cool Tom Nook toboggans up at Target, the ears and everything.
That's fun.
I thought about getting one for Matthew and having him wear like a little vest and a tie and just have that on. It'd be pretty sweet.
I've got a pea coat, and I'm just gonna wear like no shoes, and I've got a sweatpants. I want to be Peter B. Parker from
My brother's doing that. He's got the two different shoes and
yeah.
everything. Yeah, yeah. He showed me this costume the other night. It was pretty cool.
I still need to get the like the Spider-Man like costume shirt or whatever.
Yeah,
But I mean I already have everything else. Plus
yeah,
I'm a little chubby, and I have scruff on my face, so
yeah.
it all works out.
Yeah, that's a great costume. All right, what's your next one?
My next one is a classic video game high school, which video game high school for those who don't know. Are you familiar with Freddie W?
With who?
Freddie W.
No, I don't know who that is.
Okay, gotcha. So Freddie W was I say was, but he's still pretty big. He made these action films, just short films, and so Video Game High School was like their first foray into long form storytelling. Um, and so Video Game High School is about this guy Brian D, who is he plays this Call of Duty type game called Field of Fire, um, and and he gets a kill on the greatest player in the world um, during like it's a little complicated, but just imagine that the video gaming is the biggest thing in the world. Just accept that, and the rest of this will make sense. So the biggest player in the world, the Law. His name is Lawrence, but they call him the Law. He goes on like one of these like The View type shows with like iJustine and whatever. Um, and so they're just watching him play, and it's like, oh, that's so cool, and he's trick shotting everybody. And then Brian D just accidentally, uh, because he goes AFK for a minute, and then he's like, you know what, we're gonna mess with this guy, and so then Brian, gets his keyboard back up after his hot pocket is done cooking, and he shoots the Law, and he gets a kill on live television. And because of that, he is invited to Video Game High School, which is the most prestigious high school in the world, which is where the Law goes. That's where he meets all his friends. And it's not just shooters. That's just kind of like shooters is kind of like the football of the world, where like it's the biggest sport. But his friend and roommate Ted is a drifter. So he plays like this Initial D type arcade game. Um, and then Key, who is Ted's girlfriend, is really big into fighting games and art real time strategy games. Um, Ted's dad, played by Freddie Wong, because for those of you who don't know, Freddie Wong is actually the world champion of Guitar Hero as well, like in real life. And so Freddie teaches the rhythm music, the rhythm game class. Um, but it's a really cool concept that like you go to a high school and like you learn like proper strategies with how to play video games. It's really cool. I season one is probably season one might be the best, um, but the best character being the Law, who's kind of like Brian's bully, because he's the best. He's the star varsity esports athlete. Um, there comes a point where he is discredited because he's been framed for using aimbot, which is essentially steroids for video games.
Right.
Um, and so there's a point where like he just becomes the janitor at VGHS, and it's like, you know what it is? It's kind of like Chang from Community, where he becomes like like his reputation is just kaput, and so he just goes insane. Um, there's actually there's a scene where in season 3, whenever they're like, hey, we got this big 64-man game, and we're down a person, we've only got 31 people, we need you, the Law. And the Law is working like GameStop because that's the only thing that he can do. And so like this customer's like yelling at him because he's like, are you kidding, I paid $50 for this and you're only giving me $2, and just keep yelling at him. And so whenever they're like, hey, we need you to come play, he's like, I'll do it. And so then he grabs an N64 controller and just starts beating the crap out of the customer. um, Video Game High School it's a lot of fun, and I think Video Game High School is the reason I want to talk about this. It's the perfect show that really blurs that line between um, internet show and just actual show. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because and the production value definitely goes up, but not by a whole lot. It starts out looking really great. Um, and I know that you can watch this on YouTube, of course, but I know it's also on Netflix. It's 3 seasons, um, and it's a lot of fun. And it also spawned one of my favorite memes, because people don't know how names work. Because whenever season three ends with them all graduating and people going off to, like, they're going off their separate ways, and then people are like, well, what about video game college school? And I'm like, you don't know how words work, because that's not what the name would be. um, it would be video game university, VGU, of course. But I think video game college school is just a funny thing to say.
That reminds me of when Nickelodeon did the TV show Welcome Freshmen. Then after the first season, they're like, wait, we can't call them freshmen anymore. What do we do?
Well, I
uh,
mean, I mean, if you think about, like, community, they went to a community college for 4 years. So,
yeah.
but yeah, video game high school is a lot of fun. This is one of those shows where it's serialized, so really you just start from the beginning. Um, oh, you know what? There is an episode that's really funny, because not only are there drifters, um, but there are also carters. Um, and they hate each other because the drifters are like, we are real racers, but the carters are the ones who play like Mario Kart. um, and so they have to go up against the carters because they stole like a key, from for like the soda fridge or something like that. um, but yeah, it's really funny. And I'm trying to think of oh, there's this guy who wears this red jacket and a fedora, and he's called Games Dean, and he just walks around looking cool, and that's really his only like character. Is just that he looks cool. He's like, "It's me, Games Dean." Um, you know what? I see what you mean. I definitely sound like a crazy person when I'm talking about this, but
Right. Because
that's
if
the nature of internet shows.
so, speaking of James Dean, we'll get to my final one on my list. Monument Mythos is an analog horror series about um, the different monuments around the world and how they all have something sinister in them. So, like, there's a creature living in the Statue of Liberty, and it is feeding on um, people at Ellis Island as they come in on the boats. It's picking people and feeding on them. Just
Can
creepy stuff like that.
confirm. No idea where my second brother went.
So yeah, it's a lot of stuff about the history of how these things were built and stuff and weird things and there's an episode like I said about Statue of Liberty. There's one about Mount Rushmore and Alcatraz and all this weird crazy stuff. Um, and this clearly takes place in an alternate universe because James Dean survived his car crash and he beat Nixon in the presidential race.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's pretty funny and like basically Nixon basically just gives up. It's just James Dean's a better candidate and all this stuff. And there's hints though that James Dean might be the Antichrist and just all this crazy stuff. Um, I really love this series. It is bizarre. A lot of it doesn't feel like it connects together. Then towards the end, it does. And while you're talking about video game high school, I discovered there is a season 3 to this that I did not know existed. So I'm very excited. As soon as this is over, I'm going to go start watching that. um,
I'm just like astounded that, so there's a character named Games Dean, and you got a segue from that. Like, that's
yeah.
amazing.
uh, the first video about Statue of Liberty is not very long. I would definitely check out the video Dean Democracy about James Dean. It's just it's just bizarre and wacky. I love it. There's a whole episode about you remember when the cargo ship got stuck in the Suez Canal a couple years
Yeah,
ago?
yeah.
There's a whole episode about that where President Hillary Clinton tries to drop a nuclear bomb on it to get it to move.
We're President Hillary Clinton.
It is amazing. And like so many people get killed by that cargo ship. It is wild. That's probably my other favorite video. Probably the Dean Democracy, and then the one about the Suez Canal. and just how all the people get killed in that. Because like a giant crab monster gets like attached to it, and so like it like goes on shore, and it starts it crashes into like the Suez Tower, I think it was,
Something like
and
that.
so somebody sent out misinformation that hey, all that stuff on that cargo ship is American property and the Egyptians are stealing it, and so all the Americans jump on planes and go and riot, and the creature is like excreting, like it's bleeding everywhere, so it's excreting this very slippery material. So all these people are slipping and sliding everywhere, and they're rioting, and like so thousands of people die. All these Americans die from the crab monster and all this stuff. It is it's a crazy series, and I kind of love it. There's some channels that will discuss theories on it. I think Matt Pat is just now discovering Monument Mythos, so he's kind of behind the curve on this one. But Wendigoon, who's a great channel, has done videos on this. And then I think I discovered this through Nightmind. Nightmind is where I go to find a lot of these weird videos. Um, but yeah, Monument Mythos is great. It's one of my favorites. If you like weird alternative histories, it's a great one. Or if you're like into a lot of my videos have to do with now I'm thinking about cryptozoology. If you like that type of stuff, then you're good to go. So, um,
Huh.
yeah.
Um, I can't believe that Potter Puppet Palace has been one of the more normal things we've talked about tonight.
Oh no, we started out very normal. I knew it was going to go off the rails very quickly.
Um, well, you know what? It's fitting because I'm gonna go ahead and bring us back to reality. Is this our last one?
Sure, this is it for us.
So, um, bring it back. We're gonna talk about one of my favorite shows that has been going on for a long time, and that is Critical Role. Um, so, for those of you who don't know, Dungeons and Dragons is a pretty big game, and people like to play it, and not just us, the normal people, but voice actors like to play it too. um, and so they've been playing this for long. So Critical Role started off as just their home game, led by Matt Mercer. Um, and they eventually got a show on Geek and Sundry before they broke ties with Geek and Sundry, and they just started their own channel. But the show actually starts in the middle of their game, so you're just kind of dropped in, um, and you can. I think they had like a like a catch up episode where it's like here's pretty much everything that's happened up until now in our game, and now you just watch our game, and that's really it. Is they just play their game of Dungeons and Dragons. There's actually a couple shows like this. I can't remember what the genre is called. I think it's called Real Play, uh, but it's a lot of fun. Your usual suspects, as it were Matthew Mercer um, as the DM, and typically um, you may know him as like Crom from Fire Emblem, or I'm trying to think of something else. He was McCree in Overwatch, just a lot of stuff. Liam O'Brien is another one of the main characters. He usually plays like some of the more normal characters, um, and you'd know him as like Gara from Naruto. Uh, Laura Bailey, who I'm a big fan of. She's Lucina in Fire Emblem, and she also played Kid Trunks in Dragon Ball. She's probably my favorite of all the players. Her husband Travis, also Guile in Street Fighter, and Roy Mustang and Full Metal.
Nice.
Yeah. Um, Taliesin Jaffe. He's in a lot of weird stuff, but he always makes like the really mysterious, cool characters that we don't get to know a whole lot about. Um, but he always does like the most damage. He was the Flash in Injustice, I think. Marisha Ray, who I remember watching Marisha Ray on a Superpower Beatdown on Bat in the Sun. That's where I know her from. But she's a lot of fun. Ashley Johnson is actually an actress, not just a voice actress, but like she's an actress. And then, of course, everyone's favorite, Sam Riegel. Everyone loves Sam Riegel. He always plays like the really silly characters who end up breaking your heart because like he's very funny with his characters, but like there's always something in their backstory that makes it like heartbreaking, which is very cool. You might know Sam Riegel as Donatello from the 2003 Turtle Show.
Ah, what
Um,
2003? Oh yeah, 2003. I think it's 2012. Yeah, 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 yeah.
no, no,
Okay.
no, no, 2003 show, yeah.
Yeah.
And he was also a Phoenix Wright.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it's really fun. They're on campaign 3 right now. Each campaign is probably about 150 episodes, which I think is insane as a D&D player myself to like keep the story going for 150 sessions
Yeah.
is like incredible. Um, but it's just a fun show. It's
So
really
is this where Vox Machina came from?
Yes, yes. So Vox Machina was their first group. So each campaign title is um, is based off of the name of the group. So Vox Machina was their first, and Vox Machina. If you've got Amazon Prime, they actually have their show out now called The Legend of Vox Machina. Um, and their second campaign, which honestly is my favorite group, is the Mighty Nine, which is funny because there's only 7 of them. Um, but it's nine as in like the German word for no.
Oh, okay.
um, plus, they were all in the Mighty Number Nine, so that was kind of the joke too.
Gotcha.
And then Bell's Hells is the current one they've got going on. Um, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. You got characters that are like little woodshop gnomes that turn into werewolves, and um, Scanlan, Scanlan is probably the most popular Critical Role character of all time. Um, is a gnome bard that like so what Matt, I don't know if Matt makes him do it or if it's just Sam Riegel being Sam Riegel, but every time he casts a spell, he's got to sing it
Okay.
because he's a bard. So that might just be a Sam thing. I don't know, but I make all of my people sing a song if they want to be a bard too because I think it's funny.
There you go.
um, but yeah, that is one thing though. There is a danger with getting into Critical Role. Do not expect your D&D game to be like Critical Role. Do not expect your DM to be like Matt Mercer. People do things differently, and I know that in the D&D um, hobby sphere or whatever, um, it is it is looked down upon to say, well, Matt Mercer would do this. Matt Mercer, don't do that. Just have fun when you're playing, and have fun when you're watching Critical Role too. Um, but no, what I think is the most interesting thing is the main bad guy for Vox Machina, and this is spoilers for The Legend of Vox Machina. Um, if you are watching that show on Amazon, but the main villain, the Whispered One, is Vecna. And this was years before Stranger Things season 4. Um, So Vecna has actually been, he's been on a popularity rise not since Stranger Things season 4, but probably since about 20.
You still there? You still
Oh,
there?
oh, where did I lose everybody? Can you hear me?
You were talking about Vecna season 4. Yeah, I can hear
Oh,
you.
yes.
Can you
Okay,
hear
cool,
me?
cool. Yes, I can. Um, anyway, yes, Vecna was in Stranger Things season 4, but he actually really got his popularity spike at the end of campaign 1, because he was the main bad guy of Vox Machina, um, which was pretty cool. And so I think that it's really because of Stranger Things that D&D has gotten popular, but I also think Critical Role has something to do with it as well.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think that a lot of YouTubers all kind of had the same idea around the same time. Like I know that
mhm.
Dan Harmon has his own little show, and
Mm-hmm.
there's some different groups that do similar things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm a, I'm a,
uh,
I'm a big fan of Brendan Lee Mulligan, who does Dimension 20 for College Humor Dropout. Um, and the cool thing is a lot of these people, they actually collaborate. So sometimes you'll have um, the Dropout people on Critical Role. Sometimes Matthew Mercer will guest star on Dropout. So it's really cool because it's not like a competition of who has the better actual play or real play show. They're all just playing games and having fun. Um, Sometimes they'll get a celebrity guests on there too. One of the more popular celebrity guests was Joe Manganiello,
mhm.
who was Flash Thompson in Spider-Man, was Deathstroke in the DC Extended Universe. Um,
He's also in the Pee Wee's Not Big Adventure, whatever one was the one that was on Netflix.
right,
Um,
right. Magic Mike. But yeah, he's in it. And he's a lot of fun. Deborah Ann Wall plays with them. I think Vin Diesel played with them one time. In fact, the Critical Role original Blood Hunter class actually comes from the mind of Matthew Mercer and Vin Diesel. So that's really cool. Um, they got Matthew Lillard on one time, and he's hilarious.
oh yeah, Matthew Lillard is great. Yeah,
Um, but yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's weird to get into because you are just watching people play a game. But really, it's definitely about like they're all performers, so they know how to make it like not weird. So it's definitely a lot of fun. I definitely recommend Critical Role and games like it.
yeah. So yeah, you know, I tried watching Vox Machina. I did not get very far. The first episode is definitely not for children.
No, no, and neither is neither is Critical Role.
Yeah,
So whenever they were first coming out with Vox Machina, they had people asking like, "Well, are you going to tone it down, so that way families can watch it?" And Matthew Mercer responded, "No, because we really want this to keep the spirit of our game, and so having their R-rated humor um, definitely keeps up with that."
right, right. Well, those that was our list of YouTube web series that we enjoy. We would love to hear your list. So if you have any,
Hmm.
please comment them down below, or if you like some of the shows we listed, or if you don't like them, feel free to comment down below. We're going to be taking like a 2 week break here. Next week is Halloween weekend, so we both have plans, and after that, I'll be out camping. So we'll see you then. I'm not sure what the topic will be then. We got kind of our Fantastic Four read through on hold right now as we're trying to figure out what to do with it. Um,
It's difficult. Um,
Yeah, just it's just the sheer amount of reading
Yeah.
and the fact that we have other commitments. We both work full time jobs. We have families. There's just a lot going on, and it's hard to. So what we might do is do kind of like the greatest hits. Jump to this man, this monster, and
Mhm.
the Galacticus trilogy and stuff. So
Yeah, and especially with like the early stuff, I assume once we get to like future foundations, like there's really not a whole lot to skip.
no, and we might try to go back to reading everything when we get to John Byrne. We'll see. I don't think we
Hmm.
have to read the whole Mark Wade saga, but I think the first three arcs are definitely worth the read. Um,
Hmm.
it's just,
Well,
that's
I mean,
just
I love Mark Wade in general, so
that's just one of my favorite stories.
yeah.
So, and I don't want to give anything about it away. It's just a really cool Fantastic Four story.
Which, by the way, just off the cuff, um, with the way they did Daredevil in She-Hulk, are we thinking they're going for a more Mark Wade thing for Born Again?
I don't know what they're doing with. It seems much more lighthearted. I didn't watch She-Hulk, so I can't tell you, but I saw the screenshots and heard stuff. Um,
I saw only the Daredevil episode.
yeah, so I just feel like, yeah, I just think it's going to be more lighthearted, and I think that might work a little better when you have a show that's lighthearted, so that when those moments hit, they hit a lot harder when all of a sudden you go dark.
Well, did you ever watch? I'm not watch. Did you ever read Mark Wade's Daredevil?
I have not, no.
So it was very lighthearted, but then there's a revelation that
Hmm.
Matt is actually at his lowest and like super depressed, and he's just hiding it.
Yeah.
So that's a way that they could that's a way that they could go with it. But yeah, no, we'll figure out what we talk about in a couple weeks.
Yeah, and I think that's good writing because you that happens a lot in real life where you think people are great and happy all the time, and they're really hurt inside. I always try to be nice to each other.
Oh
So
yeah, definitely.
you don't know what people are going through. So, and on that note, we're gonna end it there. We will see you back in 2 weeks. I'm sure we'll have a great topic. We'll be getting close to. I don't know if Wakanda Forever will be out by then or not, but not that either of us are planning on seeing it. Well, you will, but
I
I
will. Much to my chagrin, because I think this is becoming. So, what are my catchphrases? My catchphrases are, "And I'm Caleb," "See ya," and "I hate Namor."
all right. So
So,
let's try that. So that's been our show tonight. I've been Final Monkey.
and I'm Caleb.
You're supposed to say "see ya," and I hate Namor.
See ya, and I hate Namor.
Bye.
See ya, I hate Namor.